Now, I know what you're thinking. He's outside again. He needs to have a shave. But to be honest, the weather was too nice to do it inside. I've never tested out this cinematic camera as well, so I'm trying that now. But I promise it's not all going to be me walking. I want to actually sit down and talk properly, because of course this week there was a bunch of announcements. To be honest, it's surprising that Apple were able to keep the whole keynote to 2 hours, and I am of course talking about the WWDC Keynote that was on Monday. And I'm going to get started straight away by talking about iOS. Now, the newest version of iOS was of course named iOS 17, and this year it is not the same as the previous one. It's not packed with a million outstanding features like a brand new lock screen, no, but more enhancements. And I think that's okay. You know, each iOS does not have to be a big boom, wow, look at this sort of thing. It doesn't. But an OS that is going to carry on being smoothed and have more improved things with it, but more of them, what's wrong with that? And that's what iOS 17 is. I know a lot of people were probably looking at that and thinking, it's just a bunch of new text features. No, it's not. It's not, I promise you, it's better. So, first off, what do I like? Well, going straight into a simple one, and that is the removal of, I'm scared to do this because my phone is the one recording this, but the removal of Hey Siri. Now you can just say Siri. Now, whilst that sounds like a simple thing, in the background for Apple, I'm sure that is a lot to get it working and perfect. And I've tested it, it does work quite well. It does. It was surprising. I was expecting the worst when I went into that one. So now it's like Alexa. You know, Alexa, you've never had to go, hey Alexa. You can just go, Alexa. The other one is going into the Apple Music app. And finally, we get a feature I've wanted for a long time. The ability to crossfade songs. It's been on the Mac for ages. It's been on Apple Music for Android for years. And finally, it's on iOS. I've got the developer beta running and it doesn't work yet. Don't install the developer beta. Obviously, I was expecting bugs and stuff like that. You will get the same too. And then don't go crying to your mums when it doesn't work. But it will work one day. That will, of course, I'm sure be fixed in a future update. In case you're wondering, I have, of course, sent the feedback to Apple via the feedback assistant. And the bug itself, you go to settings to turn it on, which also, by the way, Apple, I think is a weird place to have it turned on. I think you should have it in the now playing screen, maybe, as on the dot button. I put it with my feedback, to be honest. It's in the settings, and now whenever I press music, because I tried to change the crossfade on, it doesn't work. We also are going to be getting, when iOS 17 officially launches in September, we will be getting the ability to collaborate playlists with other Apple Music users, which is of course cool and something Spotify have had for a long time. Going back to some of the new text features, straight away, one thing I have noticed that is working and quite cool is the ability that the iPhone will now be able to, and it wouldn't be able to finish that one because it doesn't really make sense, but the iPhone can predict what you're going to write and will finish your sentence for you, so that it will think what you're going to say, and then by just pressing the space bar, you will have got it all done. You see how I moved from there to there, just like that? That's how quick it is. Honestly, there is loads I want to talk about in terms of iOS and iPadOS. In fact, when I was writing this blog post, I couldn't even fit iPadOS in. The fact I've mentioned the word in this video is impressive. But I will be doing another video soon, in a couple of weeks, when I've looked further into detail of iOS, so keep an eye out for that if you're more interested. Next, we're moving on to what, in my opinion, is of course one of the best Apple devices made for a long time, and that is the Apple Watch with WatchOS. WatchOS 10. WatchOS 10, of course, is a big milestone for the Apple Watch, and wow, it did not disappoint. Every single app has been redesigned every single app looks amazing. There's probably it's the bigger update than iOS in terms of breathtakingness. I'm trying to do all of this off the top of my head, but the best way to do it is with pictures. Just take a look at some of these redesigns of these apps, the weather app, the messages app, all of the apps. Now playing screen, it looks breathtaking. Look what it looks like when you get a phone call now. No more just black, boring background of a text. Of course, these updates go in line with the new contact features that have come to iOS 17. Look at maps now. It honestly, WatchOS 10 looks amazing. There is so much beauty in WatchOS 10. It is only done by looking at it. When you can, have a look at it. Don't download the developer beta onto your device. You'll probably break it. You don't want that. Wait till September. But when September comes along, I promise you, it's worth updating your Apple Watch for the new design. It looks amazing. Lastly, on WatchOS 10, if I was to name one thing off the top of my head that I loved straight away when I saw it, it's a cycling feature. A feature I do love is that now when you have a workout running on your Apple Watch for cycling, you've got all the metrics there on your watch. But also, a live activity will appear on your lock screen. You can tap that, and full screen, you have the metrics for your cycle on your phone live in line with your Apple Watch. And then you can put your phone on your handlebars and you can see it straight away without even just a glance, like you were if you're driving a car. Which brings us on to tvOS. And I'll start talking about tvOS by going back to iOS. Now, before WWDC, iOS was very heavily rumoured to get a brand new control centre. Now, already I've mentioned my opinion on that, which is I don't think it needed one. And it didn't get one, really, did it? No. All that happened is, on the little now playing screen, is the AirPlay symbol has moved slightly. But that's fine, nothing wrong with that. But what did get a new control centre was the Apple TV. And it looks amazing, much easier to use, simpler to use, and it looks a bit more continuity with macOS, I think, to be honest. Also, it's quite new with Apple TV is you can now make FaceTime calls through the TV. And in case you don't have a brain and you can't work out how that one works, it uses your camera on your phone as the camera for the Apple TV. Pretty cool. Now, WWDC is genuinely a software-based conference. We don't normally see any hardware at all at the WWDC, but we were astonished with the amount of hardware we got. We got a brand new MacBook Air, we got a brand new Mac Studio, and we finally, after years, got a brand new Mac Pro, which comes of course with the M2 Ultra support, which does of course as well fully complete Apple's transformation to Apple Silicon. They no longer really sell any Intel hardware. And that is just about it for the WWDC 2023. Okay, the elephant in the room. Of course, I'm talking about the breathtaking revolution. It was one of those moments where you remember where you were when Apple announced it. Of course, I'm talking about the Apple Vision Pro, Apple's awesome brand new AR headset that is coming to the US next year, not the UK. And I want to first, now I've mentioned their name, talk about the price, which I think, fair enough. Yes, it's $3,500, but when you consider all the years of research and development that have gone into that device, I mean, Apple have been working on it for years. They've been, it's been rumoured to be announced for the past 3 years, so it doesn't really surprise anyone at all that they have indeed announced it. And when you can look at the hardware, the specs, and I think $3,500, and considering it's Apple as well, no one expected it to be $1,000, did they? If you did, you're delusional. Let's be honest. It's also only the first generation device. I mean, if you're a collector, you're obviously going to buy it because you know that in a 10 years time, that's going to be worth a lot of money if you keep it in its box. but wait for the next generation to come out afterwards. It's a first generation device. The Apple Watch first one, 000, was nothing like the Apple Watches we have today. Time. Give it time. That's all I'm going to say on the regarding the headset for now, but I'm going to be looking into more detail with that as well. But that this time generally is it for this video. I'm enjoying the nice weather. I promise I'll shave next time, and I was only allowed to upsell one other thing, which is I now sell photos. You can check out the links in the below, but also all the other links that you expect are in the description. I don't want to waffle on now, so thank you very much for watching. Goodbye.